Hi.
Short Bus Debate Club. It's a bus rolling.
I can get on board. Hello, I'm Darren Jolly.
It's time to get this short bus started. So let's roll. And on with the show. Hurry up, get on the fucking bus. We're running late. A whole day late. All right, this is Brian Courtney with Short Bus Debate Club. Darren Jolly is across the table from me.
I'm on the bus.
He is on the bus. And this little journey, we are going to talk about cryptocurrency. Some of you may have invested in it. Some of you may spend it. Some of you may just not know a fucking thing about it.
It's complicated shit, dude.
It is complicated, and it is fairly important, especially because of why it kind of started in the first place. So we're going to get into all of that in the next 45 or so. Anything you want to say before we start talking crypto?
Nothing. Just like, dude, as soon as I started going down this rabbit hole, I think I'm going to go down this rabbit hole for a long fucking time. I've been obsessed about this quote from that Yanis Varoufakis always quotes from Marx. That is that money is the alienated capacity of humanity, right? So, cryptocurrency, I mean, is it money? Is it not money? How does it relate to money? Fucking blockchain. What the fuck is a fucking blockchain? You know?
Well, don't.
I'm just
No. I just want to make sure because I don't want to confuse our four fucking listeners if they don't know what crypto is.
This is foreshadowing right now.
Okay.
That's all that it is.
Okay, that's fair. And then
Which is what you're gonna deal with the substance of the foreshadowing.
We're also gonna talk about blockchain to some degree, but blockchain isn't as important as the finance part of the crypto.
We might have to debate that point a little bit.
Maybe. And this is the Short Bus Debate Club, so that's an acceptable thing. Okay. So
which means also that debate is not going to take you anywhere except for on the bus. You'll be on the bus with us, but it's kind of like the Talking Heads, you know. We're on a road to nowhere. Okay, go ahead.
No, that was good. You know, you sing a lot more than I do on this show.
Anything, if a tenth is more than zero, then I do it a lot more.
Fuck you, I sing Screaming for Vengeance during the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame show.
That's the Judas Priest song, right? Okay.
Yeah. Oh, and by the way, I did find a Busta Rhymes song on...
I'm so sorry, Busta.
Neptunes. You know the Neptunes?
No.
It's that, and I know I always mispronounce his name, but it's I think it's Snoop Dogg's nephew, Farrell.
Wait, did you just say that his nephew's name is Farrell or Farrell?
Well, Jay-Z calls him Farrell in one of his songs, and I know that that's not the pronunciation, but his name is spelled Pharrell, or one R and two L's.
I thought you were saying he had some sort of like a...
Yeah, he's a feral dog.
Yeah.
Right. Feral cats. But that would be more Feral. And that would have been a fucked up spelling of a name.
Everyone knows that when they do these spellings that they use the most, you know, they go right to the dictionary and they go straight for the dictionary spelling of anything that's... Sorry, dude. Get your shit together.
Woo!
Otherwise, Pharaoh might be after us.
Maybe it's Pharrell.
That's only when he joins the aristocracy. He's got to get a little bit more aristocratic.
Pharrell.
Okay.
Anyway, he had this band group called Neptunes, and they did an album called The Clones, and Busta was on there.
Who was not Coolio.
Right. Anyway,
I'm sorry, Coolio. I'm sorry, Busta. I'm sorry.
Let's jump backwards a little bit and get back to crypto. So crypto, I think Bitcoin was first introduced in 2009?
What's the Japanese guy's name? The fake Japanese guy.
I don't know.
Okay, go on.
But I think it was 2009. It might have been 2008. But it didn't get real big until, I don't know, probably 2013, 2014. But cryptocurrency was invented as a way to do a couple of different things. So I think that the original inventor of Bitcoin, even though he remains anonymous for the most part, I think he had a good idea. And that was to kind of take away the power of these huge banks and countries.
Satoshi Nakamoto was the dude, the pseudonym.
The IMF,
any centralized banking system.
These large groups, he wanted to kind of give power back to the people. And obviously, I think he probably wanted to make some money too. But then there was another point, and that was where they wanted to make money more secure. And what I mean by that is stop theft, stop money laundering, stop.
So is that tied to the ledger concept?
That's where blockchain came in. That's the main reason that they started using blockchain, as far as I know. Because when I first started researching cryptocurrency back in 2015, and then I've taken some blockchain classes since, it is my understanding that that is why the blockchain sort of idea came around, was for increased security against those other things like fraud and laundering, theft, etc. And that way, when you get your cryptocurrency, you can see who the owner was prior to you, and prior to them, and prior to them.
The whole history, of it. But all you're really seeing essentially is, it's not like a wallet's necessarily like identifiable as a specific individual. I mean, you can track the movements through the owner, but the owner can. Well, that's too much of a technical question. Just keep going with the nuts and bolts for a while.
So initially, I thought that this was a great idea, and I'm still not against the idea. The problem in my mind with regard to cryptocurrency is mainly just one, and that is that really today it is nothing more than an investment. And the reason that I say that is because, cities like San Jose and New York City, maybe some other ones. I know that there are 2 or 3 crypto ATMs here in Denver, but not very many. So if you actually want to spend the money that you have, you don't have very many choices with regard to it. So even though our dollars right now, US dollars, are still, for the most part, just ones and zeros somewhere out floating in the ether, you can still go to an ATM pretty much fucking anywhere, or you can get cash back at the grocery store or wherever. When you're dealing with cryptocurrency, it's not that easy to spend, which is why I called it mostly an investment. Now,
it's like an asset of some sort. At least.
Yes, as long as it remains stable. And it's been climbing, depending on which one you're talking about.
Lately it's been tanking. Tanking.
A lot of that might have had to do with the fraud guy that I think you're going to mention. But
yeah. But there's a lot going on in relation. Yeah.
So Again, I think it's mainly an investment, but you can spend cryptocurrency on Amazon. You can spend it at Home Depot. If you've got a lot of it, you can spend it at Patek Philippe.
You can go get yourself a nice Rolex. If you got a couple of Bitcoin, you can convert that into a Rolex.
Right, or a Patek Philippe, which I'm pretty sure is more expensive than Rolex. But either way, Rolex also accepts it.
Super high-end shit.
Yeah, there are a few auto dealers or auto manufacturers, I should say, that will accept Bitcoin, and they didn't name them specifically, and I didn't bother looking because, well, frankly, I don't have any Bitcoin and I can't afford a car right now. So,
6 of one, half a dozen the other.
Now, you want me to shut up so you can talk?
No. Well, I mean, ultimately, all you're saying is, so whether you gold standard, right? U.S. off gold standard, floating currency, right? Huge portion of libertarian dispositions that don't like centralized financial spaces, hyper critical of fiat money, right? Saying this money is not tethered to anything, right? So, having said that, though, when you have a giant military and the rest of the world, particularly as it relates to things like petroleum, buy and sell their oil and use their reserve position through your currency, we can say that it doesn't exist. But since the global political economy functions through your currency, the ontological expression of money gets incredibly complicated. But since everybody uses it, the belief that it means something stays pretty strong at that point in time. And other currencies that function in relation to that, whether it be the yen, the yuan, the pound, the euro now, obviously, they maintain some measure of stability in relation to it. So obviously, one of the things, like you're saying about cryptocurrency, is that it doesn't have any real value that's tied to anything except for the perception of value as it relates to the people who are investing in it, putting money into it, or pulling money out of it.
It's exactly like the stock market.
Except for that the stock market actually ties to a production process or to
a service
or like hard goods, whatever.
Yeah.
Crypto at this point in time, like that's why. So,
well, crypto, though, if you think about it, is the product. And I'm not trying to argue with you.
You're right. So that's why where I was going to go from there, though, was that one of the interesting things about the division between Bitcoin, which is identifying itself primarily as an alternative currency of some sort, right, and something like Ethereum, which is trying to construct actual, like they're what do they call them, contracts? What do you call them? What is it?
Buy-sell contracts?
Well, but smart contracts, right? So they're trying to create a space for smart contracts into actual things in this realm where it's not just a currency, right? Where there's other value-added pieces to the Ethereum in the first place. And this is, it just gets so fucking messy when you get into those spaces. But Bitcoin is very different from Ethereum because of that. Because Ethereum is trying to do something. Bitcoin is just trying to be a value.
Well, and they're all, or at least they say, that they're all trying to do these new innovative things to make their coin worth more or be valued greater or whatever the case is. So here's the comparison that I would make. Okay, a diamond isn't worth shit unless somebody's willing to pay for it. So all the fucking diamonds on earth are gone, and you've got one little 1-carat diamond. It's gonna be worth millions because there's some fucking dildo yuppie somewhere, probably right across the street, that says, "I'll give you $100 million for it."
And then you have a bidding war because the rarity of the item.
Right. So now, if there were a finite number of any cryptocurrency out there, then I would say its value is going to be stable.
There is a finite number, though.
No, there's not, because that's what the fucking crypto miners are doing.
But there's a hard ceiling on the number of Bitcoin that's going to be available as soon as the mining is done. The number is 21 million. It's a hard ceiling. I was actually just looking at it right now.
With which one? For Bitcoin or for all cryptocurrencies?
For Bitcoin.
Okay.
But Bitcoin is something that strives to be a currency. Ethereum does not strive to be a currency.
Right, but I'm talking about all of the cryptocurrencies in general, because
but part of the interesting thing about, like, Bitcoin understands the argument that you're making, which is why they created that hard ceiling in the first place. I was listening to, what's the dude's name? Vitalik, the Ethereum guy. I can't say his last name. I'm a fucking idiot. Here, Vitalik Buterin. He's one of the main two guys that started the guy who has an IQ just a shade under 260, right? So they say, whatever the fuck that means, right? Whatever. Smart guy, interesting guy, definitely worth listening to. I listened to a good version of
Did you know he can slice cheese with his laser eyes?
I don't think that he would say that. I think that I think if you said that he would laugh, especially if you said it right after the 260 thing. Yeah. But now you made me fucking forget what it was I was gonna say. We were talking about
just a shade under 260.
Yeah, not the number, but what were we talking about right before? Oh, the value. So
yeah.
He was talking to the blockchain socialist guy who's he's a lefty who gets irritated at lefties because they refuse to engage in blockchain technology, and he spends a lot of time trying to say there's some potentials here that you need to look at, potentials and capabilities of organizing, potentials in having different concepts of how value is expressed and how you can create communities of value. Really an interesting guy, sharp guy. I actually found him through Glenn Greenwald. He had him on his podcast, but he's got his own podcast called The Blockchain Socialist. But he has Vitalik on there, and Vitalik brings up in them because they're talking about the hard ceiling, the 21 million hard ceiling with regards to Bitcoin, and the blockchain socialist says, sort of in passing, do you think that that's really going to be a hard ceiling? And he said, we're actually constructing futures bets in relation to in 25 years from now, whether or not, or 10 years from now, whether or not there will be 10% more, whether or not there'll be 20% more, because currency markets tend to, in spaces, in times of crisis, they tend to construct, they expand the currency, like almost always.
Right. So, and that's fine. But what I'm saying is that currently, while there is a huge value attached to all of these coins, not all of them, but a lot of them.
Yeah, Ethereum and Bitcoin specifically have the biggest values.
So
number one and number two, respectively.
We've got these values attached to these things that are, again, ones and zeros.
Yeah. Yes. NFTs. What the fuck is an NFT?
So
non-fungible token. What the fuck?
You've got these things. It's not a product. It's not a service. It's not even a fucking bond from the government. So
that was what I was kind of alluding to before. There's nothing backing it. Period.
Right. So at this point, no matter what they do, they kind of have to sell it as a product. Because again, and unless you consider Bitcoin Beach down in fucking El Salvador.
They've talked a lot about El Salvador on this.
It is not used on a daily basis by the majority of the population.
And trying to construct it as a reserve currency is an incredibly dangerous thing, which El Salvador, I'm sure somebody's done a case study into it, but they really fucked up. You can use it as, like you said, an asset where you keep it at the edge of something because of the volatility of it. You don't want it to be at the center. Whatever lies at the center. When the yuan kept their currency artificially deflated so they keep production costs low because labor costs stay low. They did that not by using their currency. They did it by putting the dollar at the center of what it was that was happening in those spaces.
Well, and if, let's say something like the Bitcoin guys get bored or they want to go buy another tech company. Mm-hmm. And Ethereum says, we'll give you $2.5 billion for your company. Bitcoin guys say, fuck it. Sounds good to me. Let's go. Sell Bitcoin to Ethereum. Now Bitcoin is Ethereum. Ethereum says Bitcoin no longer exists anymore. And I know this is just nothing but hypothetical shit, so you four people don't get all offended and call me.
This is not going to happen.
Well, it could happen, but it's tech not. Companies buy each other a lot.
Now you're talking about Bitcoin companies, or coin companies.
I'm talking about tech companies.
Okay, keep going, motherfucker. Get to where you're going.
Anyway, Ethereum buys Bitcoin. Bitcoin no longer exists. El Salvador's entire fucking economic structure crashes. And I'm not talking about crashing and taking them back to fucking 20 where they were when they started at Bitcoin Beach. I'm talking about crashing and taking them clear back to where now they got fucking bones in their nose and they're fucking starting fires with sticks.
This Afghani and this Pakistani are sitting on the fucking border in the mountain and they got their fucking one TV that they're fucking sharing, looking at it in their fucking stone hut house with the fucking llama outside. And they're like, holy shit, man, look at what happened to El Salvador. I get it.
Yeah. I mean, it just completely takes a shit. Or for some reason, another rumor has started and all the fucking stupid Twitter baiters just propagate this rumor and it spins out of control and
I like that term, Twitter baiters.
Bitcoin crashes into nothing. So nobody even has to buy them. Now, everyone's Bitcoin, regardless of whether you're in El Salvador or not. Nothing.
Well, that's why, this is a good point for me to, like, at least in passing, bring up that situation. So, every time I read this fucking guy's name, I think of, like, when fucking Chris Moneymaker won the fucking World Series. Like, how ironic.
What a fucking tool,
But how ironic.
Dude.
So you have Chris Moneymaker win in 2003, and fucking poker just goes fucking buck wild. And then you have Jamie Gold win in 2000. It was the gold standard, right, in that moment, right? And then everything went to fucking shit. But this guy, his name was, I will not say it the way that the people say it on CNN or MSNBC. I will not abbreviate his name because they literally like say it. His name is Sam Bankman-Fried, right? A guy who ends up being a Ponzi scheme fucking crypto nightmare has a middle name Bankman-Fried. His name is Bankman-Fried. Give me a fucking break, dude.
Is it hyphenated? Is he a lesbian?
No. Well, only in his spare time, So, but either way, so they created, him and his buddy created this company called FTX. They had a coin that was fucking tied to it. I won't go through the specifics of it. You can find this shit anywhere. It's all over the fucking place.
I remember FTX.
But it was valued. The company was valued for like 5 minutes at $32 billion. They had another exchange tied to it called what was the name of that other company? Whatever. They were the coins that they had created and were getting all these fucking investments from all these fucking people. Like Larry David was advertising for them. Some other dumb motherfucker, and they're all getting sued now for it too, on top of it, because they literally fucking were pumping all this fucking money into.
I bet you Larry David's thrilled about that.
Yeah. So
he'll probably do a whole Curb Your Enthusiasm show about it.
Well, he's gonna have to, because it's gonna cost him a lot of money to pay back this fucking shit that he's getting fucking ass rammed for. But in like a 72-hour period, the company goes from, because they realized that he had cross-pollinated, that he had an investment side over here where the money that they had investing for their coin was being diverted over to this so they could borrow against it, which when you're doing that on your books there's a word for that, a 5-letter word. It's fraud. Yeah, that's what they call that. So
it's not considered a good thing.
So either way, it was a total Madoff thing. He literally goes from being worth by himself, they said 16 billion to nothing, literally in a 24-hour time period. But this is one of those moments where you have this space where there's a massive amount of investment in it. It's all being run through the Bahamas, but nobody's fucking backing it. So in that moment, BlockFi had agreed to buy up some of the debt that was going on in, but they didn't know that the debt, that whole cooked books thing hadn't come out yet. So, but they had agreed to buy up some of the FTX issues, and so like within a week and a half, FTX filed bankruptcy, BlockFi filed bankruptcy. Sagar on fucking Breaking Points, he was making fun of himself, right? Because I mean, if you fuck up, you fuck up, and he had been and no matter what, he gets some value out of it anyway because he was fucking around with crypto. It's like when I was doing the poker stuff. You learn all kinds of stuff when you're doing it all day long and looking at it. But he had about almost 6,600, I think it was, tied up in an account. They had told him, and this was on BlockFi, that you get like 9.6% on your return, which is hilarious. There's no such thing as a 9.6% return on an investment, And of course, when that dried up over there and that dried up over there, his $6,000, just under $7,000, very quickly disappeared. So, I mean, the point that you're making, people can bitch about fiat money all they want, but as long as you have under X amount of dollars in a U.S. bank account after 1929, as soon as they created those banking positions, you're not going to lose that money.
FDIC,
yeah,
100,000 per account.
I have stupid people come into the post office all the time. Sorry, stupid people. But you come in and you say, I want to insure this check. I got to send this $28,000 check to pay off my house. I said, you don't need to, but I want to insure the check. You don't need to insure the check. I want to insure. I said, the fucking check is insured already. Do you know what FDIC is? I said, I'd love to just take all that extra money from you to insure a fucking $28,000 item. But because I'm an honest person, I'm not going to do that. And sometimes, one person still made me insure it. And I was like, okay, dipshit, if you're going to throw away $100 bill, if you got a $100 bill to burn.
What kind of asshole wouldn't just do a fucking ACH or walk the check into their bank? Sorry, side note, completely different episode.
I'm not a smart man, but I know what love is. Dude, I don't know what to tell you. You know what I dream about sometimes when I'm standing all night at the post office and somebody does something like that? I just want to say to them, I'm not answering any stupid questions today. Just one time, I want to say that to them.
You should.
I will, but it's got to be the right, perfect time. To where they they feel the other hand right coming right on their forehead, because it's no good unless they.
No, I think you want. I think you want to get a laugh from the people in the line behind.
That's true, because you need an audience. Yes.
You want to drop your mic and fucking walk away from the counter, dude.
See that mic drop? Did you see that mic drop?
Thank you. I'll be here all week.
Right. That didn't turn out the way. Okay, so I mean, but there are still some ideas where obviously this has to be addressed at some point in time. You need to have some regulatory positions developed where you're not just totally, because one way or another, the way that the system exists right now in relation to crypto, it lends itself to volatility for all of the things because it's just essentially an asset right now. There are the practical applications, and they're growing in spite of what anything you say or you or I say. There are some things through these ledger positions and some other interesting sort of social configuration spaces that are rooted in that initial idea, that transcending the financial systems space. But again, right now it's so esoteric and it's so abstract that all I've been doing for the last 4 days is looking at this shit, and I understand it 1,000 times better than I do, but I still hardly feel comfortable even talking about it on here because I understand that I know a little bit of what I know. I know I don't know some of what I know, but I know that there's a ton that I don't know about what I don't know.
Oh, dude, especially with all of them, like I mentioned, that different companies were talking about these new and terrific innovations. I didn't bother to look and see what any of those innovations were. And again, that was maybe not a good thing to do since I'm doing a podcast with you on cryptocurrency, but okay, so I mentioned Patek Philippe, right? I think the cheapest watch you can probably buy from them is like 85 grand.
That's the cheapest?
Yeah. This means that
you get a low-level Bentley for that much, dude.
They're badass. When I said $200,000 for a Patek Philippe, that's like mid-range. There's some of them that are running $850.
So you really look at a watch and get a little bit of a wood about a watch? I mean, you're getting excited about it right now.
Dude, they're badass fucking watches. Just the works in them. I mean, they're worth 850 grand or 600, maybe not.
Are they made by like trolls or fairies or something? Or
no, just the Swiss.
Well, I'm sure there are Swiss that are fairies.
Probably.
Okay, so Patek Philippe.
That means if you can afford to buy a Patek Philippe, you're not really in our class of people. You know, okay, so you can spend your cryptocurrency at Home Depot. That's probably more our speed. But my guess is if you've got cryptocurrency and it's worth X because of the value, then you might just use your Home Depot credit card. You're not spending your fucking cryptocurrency at Home Depot. Do you see the disparity and I'm not talking to you.
Well, and that dude probably has the cold wallet where they've got, and nothing's touching it.
You need to explain that if you're going to say, because I don't think that our 4 listeners necessarily know hot versus cold.
So there's, like the people that get involved in these spaces, there's a lot of hacking and things like that go on. And stuff gets diverted, and sometimes it gets diverted in because it's the Wild West. I mean, these people are the people that they're creating some of these spaces through these blockchain spaces as they go. And when they do it, sometimes they're looking to go in and rob you motherfuckers blind, right? So there's 2 types of wallets. There's ones that you keep connected to the internet or have connected to the internet.
And power in general.
Yeah. Yes. Hot, right? And then there's the ones that you don't keep connected to at all, and they're called cold. But while we were talking about this last night, Brian made a good point. Unless you can actually create your computer from the ground up, and that means that you're controlling the components that you're bringing in to make it as well, because literally you could buy a component from somebody who produces something for HP or for fucking Apple or whatever, and that component by its very nature allows for
somebody to peep into your
shit.
shit.
That's what it really comes down to. So, but the idea of a cold wallet is that it's what they call air gapped. It never gets plugged into the internet, and all of your information is on there, and it's so secure that your key that allows you access to that wallet in the first place, you don't even keep that complete. You might keep half of it complete with you, and then you would give 20% of the remaining half to one friend, 20% to another friend, 20% to another friend, 20%. So literally you're breaking up the ability to log on without doing. So you have your half, and then you have to go to these 5 different locations and put them together to make it so that you have access to that in the first place. And that's real. That's what these motherfuckers do.
So just real quick to explain key, we're talking about a key code. And when we're talking about cybersecurity, there are really, for simplistic reasons, I'm going to say that there are 2 keys. There are more types of keys than 2, but really there are symmetric keys and there are asymmetric keys. And
Brian used to work in cybersecurity, just for the record.
I just wanted to explain that because
What is the difference between symmetric and asymmetric?
Dick face. Okay, so a
You can't bring
symmetric.
it up and not say it. I mean, cold walls, hot walls. You gotta
Well,
explain it.
Symmetry
Yeah, I
means
understand the concept of symmetry
that you're symmetric.
in relation to a code, though.
Well, because, okay, so a symmetric key means, let's see, what's the easiest way for me to explain this? So you give whatever provider the key, they verify it, and send back an acknowledgement, either denying you or letting you in.
Mm-hmm.
Symmetric.
Okay.
Asymmetric is more where it's kind of like what you were talking about, where neither of you have the entire key and both of you have to talk in order for the key to work.
Or multiple nodes in relation to you.
Yes.
Yep. This is important to understand in relation to some of the centralized positions, because when you forget your fucking password to your fucking your bank account, you can go to your fucking bank and gain access to it again, because the bank's a central position that can allow you to do that. This is when you're dealing with this in crypto spaces, it's decentralized in the sense that it's dependent on you to do it yourself, and for you to create the network around you that allows you to reinforce your position in a safe way. So it's you and the community that you connect yourself at large with rather. And this is, I mean, if you want to talk about the withering away of the state, these are the spaces where you quit thinking about it in the way that the idiots who fucking talked about Marx thought about it, and you think about it in a way to where the state is not something that exists outside of you. You are the state itself. And I don't mean that in the way that the Soviets would have sort of like presented it, or the way that the Chinese effectively present it right now. I mean that in the sense that the state as an actor in a representative sense outside of yourself is no longer something that's out there. It's all everywhere, but that's because it's our community that we're constructing that is the state itself, which means that it's no longer a state per se. It's just
a state of mind.
No,
a state of intention.
It's constituted through what we do with each other, but again, not representatives. It's us.
Right. I just real quick, I would like to also say, and this doesn't just relate to cryptocurrency, but don't write your fucking passwords down.
Yeah. Ever.
Don't use the same fucking password on every site.
Ever.
Change it up. And as far as I'm concerned, don't use some bullshit like a Google Wallet or anything like that. Hackers are hackers, and they're pretty fucking good at their jobs. So if you don't want your shit to get ripped off, regardless of whether it's your identity, all the money in your fucking bank account, or your cryptocurrency, then and use a more complicated password than your kid's name and what year they were born. Just an idea.
Back to blockchain and cryptocurrency and whatnot. You want to hear a fun fact?
Fun fact.
Vitalik Buterin was born on January 31st, 1994. He was born on my 18th birthday.
That is a fun fact.
Yeah, I was like, wait a minute, motherfucker, you got my birthday. I don't have a 259 IQ, though.
Nor can you slice cheese with your laser eyes.
Dude, just because I don't let you see it happen doesn't mean it doesn't.
Oh, that's true.
I give Cuddles haircuts with my laser eyes. That's how he actually got neutered. Oh. Sorry, buddy.
Okay. So there's another point about cryptocurrency that really makes me fucking nervous. And this is a key component. So everybody thinks, oh, well, all I got to do is go to the broker and buy it. Yes, that is true. You can go to a cryptocurrency brokerage and buy cryptocurrency. But how did it get to the brokerage to begin with? So I'm not saying everyone does this. Well, everyone mines cryptocurrency. So, some fucking lonely dork in the basement has nothing better to do, got tired of playing World of Warcraft and whatever other stupid fucking games are out there.
The last episode that I just listened to, they were talking about fucking, with the blockchain socialists, they were talking about World of Warcraft for like 15 minutes. That's not very nice, but it's dead on. Carry on, my good man.
So they get bored with their game and they decide to start mining cryptocurrency. Well, if you use one PC, depending on, how much power you've got with regard to resources, I'm talking about, processor speed and memory, things like that, you can mine currency slowly. But there's a virus out there called a crypto miner. And these people or groups send out these viruses and essentially slave not only servers. I mean, servers would be best because they've got more computing power than a PC. But most corporations have way more security than somebody at the house. So they send out these crypto miners and they start slaving telephones and PCs.
Anything that connects to the internet.
At your house. And the more systems they slave, the more they can mine and the faster they can mine them. So that could end up being a point of volatility somewhere down the road. Because
why volatility?
Because a crypto miner could just pull a whole shitload of cryptocurrency and fucking sell it all to one brokerage at once, which means essentially, if we're comparing dollars to cryptos,
they're going to flood the environment and fucking bust the fucking value of the cryptocurrency.
Are you telling me it couldn't happen?
I'm telling you that if a person's fucking spending all that time and all that energy mining it, they're going to want to keep the value at a level to where they're making the most out of there. Now, unless they're like...
why? If it was anonymous?
Unless they're like Cobra from G.I. Joe or Anonymous. But, I mean, this is one of those things where, like, Anonymous, like, that's a very reactionary thing. I mean, you'd have to, like, to be effective, it'd be one thing to break the value of the currency itself. But if you're going to do it, like, from an anonymous perspective, from a Fight Club perspective, which is what you're positing right there, correct? Don't shake your head. Say it into the fucking microphone, motherfucker.
Yes, motherfucker, yes.
Okay, so they need to break the whole system. And I just don't see that. I mean, what
if they had a problem with dude with the 259 IQ?
My concern, so they're trying to just break the value of his. In that instance, you're asking the question because they're just trying to destroy his one specific.
Just Ethereum,
yeah,
or just Bitcoin, okay, or any of them.
I get that. I mean, ultimately, my bigger concern in relation to you suggesting that is the fact that you're saying something about our computers and the fact that there is, like, people have fantasies about how your life is private, but there is no privacy. People can go and pull whatever the fuck they want off your computers. They can use your computers for whatever that they want to. The slaving concept. I remember when I was writing my thesis, they'd use slave computers to, so they'd send out a threat. So like say they'd odds maker, right? They'd say, if you don't fucking send us $60,000 to this account, by such and such a time, then we're going to crash your server on Super Bowl Sunday. And for odds make, you got to work on. I mean, for sports books, you got to be open Super Bowl. So that's where all your fucking money comes from. Is big, the the Sweet 16 and fucking, you know, all that shit like that. But Super Bowl Sunday is the granddaddy of them all, right? So, like, that stuff worries me more. I don't worry so much about, because ultimately, and maybe I'm foolish in this sense.
So that isn't a slave, though. They're completely locking your shit up.
In relation to your concern, though, these guys that are a lot smarter than me, 259 Vitalik, they're going to create securities to defend against things like that in the long run.
Are they?
I hope so. I mean, I could be wrong, but I put my faith in them a little bit. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, dude, we've been fucking around with different security measures probably since the beginning of time, right? First, we didn't have wooden doors because we lived in just a hut, right?
And then we had the Iron
And then the big bad wolf came and blew our fucking little hut down, and we decided we were going to build a brick. But we still just had a portal. It was just a fucking open thing. And then some asshole came in and stole our ham. So we thought, well,
we really have to go step by step here. Okay.
My point is that even like with the dollar, right? They've fucking counterfeited that shit, and supposedly we came up with the uncounterfeitable.
Yeah, I think that works. Yeah.
It doesn't sound right to me, but anyway,
we understand what it means, which is more important than anything.
Yet, I've heard and read that there is a super bill out there that is counterfeit, and it is perfect. That's after all of the security measures that they changed in the $100 bill. They put the fucking stupid band in and all the holograms and all of that shit. My point is that any security measure you put up, someone is going to try to break it. And if they keep trying, they're generally going to.
You know, people come into the post office sometimes, right? And they say, do I need to pay you for this right now, or can I go out there and just do like the tape or the box that they're going to use or the bubble wrap? And I say to them, and I say this publicly, I say it loud a lot, right? I'm like, you can pay for it all at the same time. I said, we have to be able to trust you still some. I said, to be honest with you, and I say it just like this. I say, if we can't trust you to bring that tape back in here when you're done, I might as well just slip my wrist in a warm tub and get it over with right now. So, I mean, the fact of the matter is that I don't believe in teleology in the sense that like we're progressing towards something, but I do believe that we can make choices socially that are not so cynical, that allow us to remember that things like a public existence, things like us having spaces where we can trust one another, you know, like we have to be working towards something like that.
But you do understand, like, okay, so I know about this much, and when I say this much, I'm holding my fingers up, and it's maybe an inch and a half.
That was like a pronoun antecedent.
I have this much programming knowledge.
Yes.
So I can program maybe a fucking calculator.
Yes.
Right. But anyone can go onto the dark web and buy a fucking virus for as little as $25.
Okay.
And that goes for ransomware that'll lock your shit up. That goes for ransomware that'll probably break a corporation. That goes for crypto miners. Whatever the fuck you want. It's not just drugs and hookers on the dark web. It's some real nasty shit. It's big fucking Gatling guns. It's explosives. It's horrible, horrible shit.
But I have to believe that we can keep working to that point where it's just drugs and hookers.
See, I would prefer to keep working to a point to where you didn't have to go to the dark web for drugs or hookers.
We've talked about that on previous episodes. We talked about that.
Yes, we have.
The deuce, dude. The deuce. And decriminalization of not just decriminalization.
Legalization.
We want legalization. We got that distinction down.
So I didn't mean to like scare anybody with my fucking
cynicism
shit about crypto mining and ransomware and viruses in general, but they fucking exist.
Well, you're right. We're not there yet. And I don't want to seem naive either. I don't want to, we're not there yet. But we have to.
Well, no, and I'm all for continuing to try. My point is that that's an area where these guys are still vulnerable.
Well, not just vulnerable, they're active. I mean, like you're saying, and especially because if there's, like I said, if there's one thing that I learned, that's I don't know shit. And unless you really understand how these things are functioning, you're going to be vulnerable.
And you could be entirely right. Maybe because I mean, most ransomware guys, they're out for money. There are people that are just vindictive and they're putting different viruses on your computer to just slow it down, just to fuck it up. And there's no money involved. Those are the kind of people I'm talking about, where they're just doing it. It's like the Eli Lilly thing that we talked about, right?
Yeah.
That person crashed the fucking stock like crazy.
That was kind of funny.
That's funny to you, but flooding the fucking market with crypto coin bothers you.
For a second, like the possibility of having free insulin was like brought to the fucking reality of humans. No, and I mean like the Sam Bankman-Fried thing, with regards to what they did, like, so it's funny, like not funny in a ha-ha way, funny in a
you're funny a dumb cocksucker ripping off old people way.
Yeah, if I were the person that was exacting fucking justice in these moments, it'd be we'd start with drawn and quartered, and I'm going to tie one to his cock too and rip it off at the same fucking time. So he's sitting there and he's having an interview with this person that does weird interviews on. He was talking. It's a cryptocurrency journalist, right? And this lady asked him a question about because for some reason this guy was putting all kinds of financial donations into like Republicans here, Democrats here, Democrats there. She asked him, was it just Democrats that you're putting money into? He says, no, I was putting equal money into both sides. He said, but I had to do it through dark money to the Republicans, because for some reason when I'm trying to be all woke and shit, like if they find out that I'm sending money to these Republicans, then they think that I'm a mustache twisting motherfucker, which I am. He straight up said that, which I am, but I don't want to. I have a public image that I'm trying to maintain. Like this guy was like, I don't know if I say he's the epitome of evil. I mean, I think the guy that was flying fucking Bill Clinton and fucking Donald Trump down to that island, having them get fucking massages from 13-year-old girls and then get blowjobs from them afterwards. That guy, the one that ended up dying in that cell in New York, where they said he'd killed himself, but obviously he had fucking gotten. You don't know who I'm talking about?
No.
They had all kinds of guys. Somebody out here knows who I'm talking about. He had all these ties. He had a house down in like the Bahamas or something like that, and he'd bring all these guys down there. Kevin Spacey, all kinds of weird motherfuckers. Alan Dershowitz. All these high-level a lot of them were high-level Democrats, but like Trump was on his plane like 17 fucking times. I can see his face in my head.
I can see Trump getting a fucking blowjob from a 13-year-old.
Well, that's got to be a horrible sight. You should get that out of your head right now. So, him and his fucking girlfriend, and she's in jail, but he's dead now. I can't remember what
the only rich asshole I can think of has he died in the past couple of years?
It was the last year. He was in a jail in New York, and then the fucking cameras got turned off. It was so conspiracy theory, and everybody was saying, like, I'd be listening to fucking Joe Rogan, and they'd be like, what's the over under for the day that they kill this guy? Because he knew where all the fucking bodies were buried. I mean, all of them. They'd all be down there, and he had gotten charged with underage fucking solicitation more times than you could even fucking count. He had all kinds of he was he said he was a hedge fund guy but he was nothing. I mean, this guy was a guy who had relationships to the CIA, and was again like he do favors for this one and for that one, and like all of their bad fucking sex activities were and his girlfriend. I can't remember. She's a brunette. She's fucking. She's in jail now. She got charged with everything and got put. I'm surprised they didn't kill her too though. So I just cannot fucking remember his name, dude. Talk about something for a minute and I'll figure it out. Talk about crypto.
I don't know what the fuck to talk about anymore. I mean, look, regardless of whether or not you believe us, I highly recommend you do some research on crypto. If you think you've got a little bit of money to invest, or, well, a lot of money, depending on which coin you invest in.
Jeffrey Epstein.
Oh, Epstein. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, he should have gotten fucking killed a lot slower than he was killed.
But regardless of what you think about what we said, do some of your own research and figure it out for yourself. And again, quit writing your fucking passwords down and using easy passwords. And if you do write it down, keep it somewhere safe that nobody can fucking find it. Don't put it on a sticky note underneath your computer.
Or in your phone.
Right.
In your notes or on a text message. But, one thing is for certain, like, as complicated as this crypto stuff is, it's not going anywhere. It's going to be here for a little while. You're going to want to understand it. And I think that on some level, it can help you understand other concepts like assets, like money, and you don't understand these things because they're a lot more complicated than you think they are. So, and crypto is going to help us find a way back to reverse an abstract exchange value into a use value at some point in time. It'll be a new synthesis to where, we can plot the way to the communist future that I'm hoping for.
So
I'm twisting my mustache now.
See, that makes it sound like communists are evil, dude.
Well, V.I. Lenin had a big mustache. Stalin had a really big mustache.
Okay, I apologize. Oh no, this is on a different website.
Mao didn't have any mustaches.
We're coming up on an hour, but just real quick, I wanted to just let you know about the Patek Philippe shit because
what is it with you and these fucking watches, dude?
I don't know, dude. I've got a problem. No, never mind. They don't have prices listed. Which, if you've got to ask for it, you can't fucking afford it anyway.
That is a Bentley rule, to be sure. Patek Philippe. Is it French? Is it Swiss? It's got to be Swiss.
It is Swiss. That's why I said Swiss people. They're badass watches anyway. All right. Well, we're over an hour now.
So what are we talking about on Wednesday?
So I think Wednesday we're doing martial arts movies.
How did that go again?
Kind of a and
what are we doing on Friday?
I thought porn, dude.
Oh, that's right. Nothing better than porn.
No.
We're going to talk about it, though. We're not going to show any pictures.
No pictures.
But as long as Elon Musk doesn't fuck anything up too much over the course of the next week, you can go to Twitter and see all kinds of stuff on porn, or on Google, for that matter, or anywhere else. Instagram probably has some porn on it, too. Is there porn on Instagram?
I don't know. I don't use social media, dude.
I like the fact that you don't say, I don't look at porn. That's honesty, folks.
All right, people. See you Wednesday for martial arts. It would have been better if it could have been martial arts Wednesday or Monday, but what the fuck could we call it? Fuck it. Wednesday, martial arts movies.
Wednesday.
Wednesday. All right. Well, get off the fucking bus. We're already running late.
720-334-ROLL.
shortbusdebateclub@yahoo.com. See you later.
Later.